Okay, welcome back to today's 405th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 4th, 2021. Mr. Kesh, are you ready to continue with the workshop here?
Yes, ready and willing to share knowledge and the love of the Creator.
Okay, how would you like to proceed? Are you open for
As
questions?
usual,
Or?
yeah,
Okay.
if there are any questions, as usual, there are a lot of questions.
Well, we just have a comment in YouTube from Hassan who says, "We love you, Mr. Kesh. Thanks for all the love you give unconditionally." And we have a couple of attendees with hands up here. So Ed can go ahead first, and we have Dirk after that.
Good morning. This is Ed from Indiana. Mr. Kesh, what I have been wondering over the last couple of teachings is our inability to use our soul to fulfill our physicality needs. Is it basically an emotional impatience where we are not willing to wait for the soul energies to create the proper fulfillment of our needs, that we want to shortcut it? We're not willing to accept the process. We want to hurry it up, our emotional impatience, so to speak, or the fear of not having, we don't think it's going to happen, or what?
It's a combination of the two. We are impatient to find a way to get rid of the hunger, so we go and kill to get it. We are impatient to receive the energies of the universe for our structure to work within the fields of the magnetic field of the containment. We breathe. If mankind realizes that in the essence of the creation, the dimension of the motion of the fields on this planet, which create the amino acids, are sufficient enough to be adjusted to meet every need of the man, then man will not kill. One of the best examples of this absorption of the energy is what we call now the viruses. We get them to us, we attach them to us, and then we let them loose. Why don't we learn how to absorb these energies without them becoming viruses? Why don't we learn the ways to absorb these energies that they become the fields for the lunch or for the dinner? We don't take any water to a space. We don't take any food to a space. We don't take any toilets with us to a space. How come we are setting it up in a few months' time to be done, and you're happy to be there, but you don't want to do it yourself? In a way, we are using the transportation enhancement unit as a way for man to start learning how to tap into. Your 5 minutes, 10 minutes on board of one from one city to another will not teach you, but they will set the process through. And the more people we can get into these systems, the more frequent, the more body starts doing it. While you're on board in that 5 or 10 minutes, your body taking all the energies which it needs, is given all the energies. You go home, the wife is starting to cook you the most delicious food, your favorite. You say, I'm not hungry. Then what does she think? Oh, and you do this, you frequent travel between every morning between New York and Beijing. And then you go back home to New York in the evening, and every night you're not hungry. I think your divorce papers to today's understanding will be on the table. Who's the mistress? Who's feeding you? Then the wife needs to understand. You said, you know something? Come with me. I'll go to Beijing tomorrow. You come with me. When you come back in the afternoon, she doesn't feel hungry. Tell her, who's your mistress? Your soul. Now he feeds you. The purpose of the transportation enhancement unit is not for you to get somewhere. It's to train you slowly to become the man of universe. Man wanted the tools, wanted the toys, wanted the gimmick. We have given it to you. It's right in the center, right on the screen. You're a tramp. You have no food to eat. You manage to get on one or go into the enhancement unit. You are given everything. You're not a tramp anymore. You don't need to look into the bins if there is any scrap chicken, as you already been fed. You find your dignity, you find a dimension of new thinking. You receive in the processes not only the emotion of the physicality, but you see the elevation of the soul. This is what the whole technology is about. Nowadays, if you have tested it, if you put Gans waters in the pot, you will see, put another gallon water in another pot. The birds all love to. They come where the ganses are because they get their energy, what they were looking for. Would they go and kill another? No, because they're fulfilled. This is what is about. We cannot get man to change. We change the man the way he wants to, with toys and gimmicks and other things. As I said before, once you go into the systems and you gradually and the frequent use of it, your body, your structure learns to take energy from the environment. Would you ever go back to eating because you want a burger, you get all the feeling and emotion of it without actually killing it anymore, destroying another life in the shape of the bread bun or the lettuce or whatever it is. We just look at the burger as is the meat inside it, but the rest of it is alive too. The sauce, the bread, everything has life. We have destroyed them, or will destroy them, for us to have the pleasure of their energies. Now it goes back to the same thing. We feel it, we taste it. It's not that the little girl said, can I lick you? Do you taste like chocolate? This is the problem with our future, that many of us will gradually change. What happened when you are a frequent traveler in these systems, or you pay a visit regularly to the enhancement units, or you decide to travel through the soul, instead of getting on a machine in a vertical system, everything you needed is there, and now lasts longer and longer, and the body does. What your body is going to do? Which organ is going to change? I don't receive anything as a waste. I don't receive anything as a water. Do I need the kidneys? Every energy I need exists within the dimension. Do I need a storage capacity on the liver? I see the beauty of the people with their souls, with their actions, with the emotion of their thoughts. Do I need an eye? Because don't forget, you can bump into the wall, but you forgot to remember that even the bricks of the wall and every dust in them has a soul. Don't come to us, you hurt yourself. Mankind will come to be changed. You are not aware of what we are about to do, but in a way, we are aware of what is about to happen. But in all these processes, it needs you to want to have that change. It needs you to allow the change to come through you. Thou shalt not steal, not even from the soul. You take from it as you allow it to be taken from. We can destroy all your cancers within seconds, but you need to have it because that gives you a confirmation of my suffering. But do you need to have it? Or by the elevation of the soul, we create new condition of life. Would mankind become kind to himself and no one else, and then through it will find peace? I explained this very recently in another conversation. Many of you who start using the enhancement units in any shape or form, when you start using the travel enhancement units, inform your soul of what you want to be, not lie to yourself, and the soul knows that you don't want to be what you say you want to be. Thou shalt not lie, not even to himself. And understanding this is important for you as knowledge seekers to take that next step. We can build all the universities to teach you everything. When you do not allow your soul to be elevated because you live in a dimension of physicality, what is the use? We teach you everything from the dimension of every knowledge to get to position of the releasing, elevating the soul. But are you ready to let it go to elevate yourself? No, because as a prison masters, you have learned to find an excuse to stop the elevation of the soul, because then it shows is you who has been the guilty party in the dimension of physicality. Now you decide which one. Mouth speaks different word than the action. And the action says totally different thing than what the soul wants. Any other question?
Mr. Kesh, may I ask one more?
Yes, you all become friend of Jalal. You all have two questions.
Was there ever a time in humanity's existence where we did allow our soul to feed us? Or was there something wrong from the get-go, or have we just adopted and made habit of relying on the physicality?
From the beginning, man could live. Man, as an energy source, could live without, by taking energy from the environment. We made it a habit when the soul was created, and the direction of the soul of the man, soul of physicality, create that emotion. If you could link the two souls without time and space gap, in a way of dimension of the plasma, that you cut out the emotion, the universe would be a perfect picture. But the loss of the fields in transition creates that imbalance, creates that emotion, creates that fields that we call emotion, which man needs to keep it under control. The man needs to keep it in a distance. If you find in the structure of the man a position, in a positional dimension of the soul, where you can constantly keep a strength field distance gap between the soul of the man and soul of physicality in a way that it would not need anything for its survival, then you have achieved the ultimate goal. And If you learn how to reduce the field strength of one for the other one when it gets closer, that gap, that square box still exists. You can live in that dimension with the same emotion. This is the secret of the creation. Being aware of two. And this is where the time has come, where the creation of Mitra, we always keep this, doesn't matter in what strength, where you're born. The space gap of the connection in the strength field in the box, as you call it, will be the same for all created things among the universe, which means all shall become one. We are not looking all to look like man, but we look like that the man, the being, the creature enjoys the position and dimension. It does not matter how it's created, and finds balance between the two. You cannot have an atom if you don't have an electron, and you cannot have an atom if you don't have the proton. And then you could not have the two atoms if you don't have what they call the neutron in the structure, that it feeds both by the dimension of absorbing from its environment. That dimension is still blind to the man. Up to now, we speak about the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man. Hydrogen is incomplete, totally incomplete, because at the end has to find energies from somewhere to keep this. The third dimension is the transition of essence of knowledge that man will come to understand, and in the future will explain, creates a perfect what we call atom, where there is always a source energy for both to tap into and keep this distance. The creation of the neutron in the structure of the atom. But this knowledge is beyond understanding of the man at this moment in time. You got to understand, you've got to realize that in the process of creation, how things will turn out to be, how everything shall be, how we tend to change things the way we, how things will tend to exist in that dimension. Why perfection comes out of the addition of a third party.
So
that's another mystery for man, which we'll discuss in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Kesh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Your Excellency. I have one question. I was tricked by the German intelligence agency. They gave me a liquid and recorded my brain 24/7. Is there a chance to change the frequency so that I get my own thinking privacy back again?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They tricked me with a liquid and they recorded my thoughts 24/7, all around the clock.
Why? Why you that they tricked you into it?
Well, they thought I was so important for them to get information out of my brain, which I hadn't at that time. So they gave me that liquid in a hospital here in Münster. And when I got that liquid, a woman, a voice of a woman behind a wall was talking to me. They made said a word, and I thought about that word, and we started a conversation. And I thought of the word, and she answered. And then in German we say, die Kind was in the Brunnen gefallen. So from that time on, they recorded my thoughts, and I went to a community in Ostbevern. It's about 20 kilometers from Münster, and in the first floor, there was a man who just was sitting there or living there just to record all my thoughts and obtaining all my doings. And when you send the I've identified flying object, I said nothing. I just saw it, and then he said in the above UFO, and hadn't seen it. So I'm just asking if there's a chance to change that frequency so that they cannot record my thoughts any longer.
I'm not aware of such a thing, and I cannot make any comment.
So they can record the thoughts as long as they want to, if they get near to my brain, about 50 meters, I guess, is the range. I have to get used to it. I think so.
I presume if that's the way of your thinking, must be.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And one thing again, I guess I have an idea for the beam formation in combination to the star formation.
In what formation?
For the beam formation.
Beam?
The beam formation, just to beam the UFO or the flight formation.
Yeah.
To another planet in seconds.
I don't understand.
Well, with the flight formation makes 20 times of light speed. That is correct, I guess. Or is it faster?
I don't understand what you're trying to raise.
The flight unit you're presenting makes 20 times of light speed in maximum speed. Is that correct?
Doesn't matter. It can go at any speed.
There
is no limitation. There is no limitation in the speed of travel.
Okay.
If you can go deeper with a stronger field.
I see.
This is the beauty of the technology. You decide on a span of the depth of the plasma where to tap in. That gives you the energy. This is the essence of the flight, essence of the creation of gravity and magnetic field.
Because I saw a video of an UFO in Paris 2008, and there was a lift formation inside. It was a triangle lift formation, so three angles. In this middle, in the center, there was a star formation, and at the end there was just a white screen, and that was a beam to another planet. So
the white screen, if you see a flash of light and then movement, this majority of it is what we call a space flight. I explained that in detail in the flight over Jerusalem.
I see.
But you do not beam in the speed of light. The creation of the light around the system is due to the rapid expansion of the field in the human strength to build up. And as the dynamic system, as the systems are dynamic, magnetic field, their interaction with the atmospheric condition of the Earth creates that flash of light. We see a flash of light and then what we call motion. This is how you do. And this is very normal in atmospheric condition. And most of the flight system you see in space travels as a rapid light. This in changes of the pulse is very, very clear. I've seen it twice on the test, maybe 3 times in the test in China when we ran the test. Because I was looking for it, you see it within the structure where we could create plasmas within the ball, and creation of that plasma within the ball creates a massive interaction of the fields of the environment and the gases.
I see.
It's a normal effect.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Rick? Do we
Yes,
have
thank you, Mr. Kesh. We've got, I thought we had another hand up here. Azar, you had a hand up at one point. Did you want to speak? Go ahead if that's true.
Good morning, Rick. Then while I came to,
There's a problem with the microphone, I think, or something there. Could you
You
say
can-
that again?
I said I had a question, but while I was waiting, the answer came to me, so I just don't have a question. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. There's several questions in the Q&A, Mr. Kesh. We have a question from Salamia, who's asking, we are all interconnected, but the science wants to prove this or not. This is the problem. Our ancestors just believe in our inseparability at energetic level, and they helped each other from a distance. Transfer of energy from one to another is the solution. How can we learn all of humanity of this truth? Thank you. Mithra could activate this information, emotion in the soul of man. Our common consciousness is this.
I don't understand what she's trying to tell us. I think that the whole thing is in the first two lines, if you read it.
It says we are all interconnected, but science wants to prove this or not. It wants to prove or disprove this, I guess. And she says this is the problem. Our ancestors believed in our inseparability at the energetic level, and they helped each other from a distance that way. And she's saying that is this transfer of energy from one person or being to another, is that the solution? And can all of humanity learn this truth? I think that's what she's asking here. And is Mithra
In a
part
way,
of
it's
that
always
process?
have been, in a way, mankind has. Do you want to change the screen? We see your face only, Rick.
Oh,
In a way, we always have had connection. As we come from and we go back to, we have connections with our parents, with our ancestors, and even the dimension where our soul is ahead of us. And we decided to be blind to it. We never allow it to grow. When we are younger, we have more of it. Because we are not aware of more physicality, we become knowledgeable in an existence and we use it in a different way. But as we grow older, this changes. And we move more in the dimension of physicality and we ignore the other side to the point that we don't accept anything. And today's scientific, most of the people who want to use the science as a way to control, they say, show me, then I believe it. And what I said, go and do it, then you believe it. I don't need to show to you nothing. In many of our conversations with many people, I always tell them, very simple. The question of show me to believe it is on your shoulder, not on mine. When they send you to an organization to decide, I said, how can they decide when they have no knowledge? I'm prepared to sit in front of a bunch of donkeys, dumb professors, which are the same as the donkeys, because they don't have any knowledge. Their knowledge about what we talk is the same as the donkeys. They hear the voices and they sit there and they just kick because they haven't been given the food, which is their living in their own lives. This is the process of the creation. We have become more and more reliable on our physical dimension, and those who understand is the way to interrupt you and control you or dismiss you. They say, show me. It's not my time to show. It's for you to understand and show to yourself. We have connections with all our ancestors. We have connection to the, if you understood the teaching of today, we can even find a line of connection to the Creator. But we decide to ignore it. That's not our ancestors. Because when you put a magnet on the table, does not matter how many magnets are on the table, big or small, they all react. So you have a connection to the small one and the big one at the same time. It's you who's been put in the middle. You are created. So you have to find what is and where is your connection to the big one on the table. Then if your great is to have his energy, you connect to him and the others will provide you to reach there. And this is what mankind have not understood fully. Understanding the ease and accessibility to the Creator is easier than drinking a cup of water. But man chooses to ignore it and he goes for the cup. When you put, Rick has a beautiful presentation, he's done it for years, all these magnets on the table. You choose different size and shape of magnets. When you introduce a new magnet on the board, everybody moves to find a new position. So when you create a new soul, you already have made connection to every single atom on this planet. I was explaining this recently too in a conversation. The problem with most of you is you have not accepted that you stand vertical. Why? In the world of physics, you should be on the floor. What holds you up? Except magnetic gravitational positioning between every cell and knowing their position. You will not be able to take a foot off the ground to do the running or jumping if the whole mechanism of the soul, of the physicality, has not adjusted itself to magnetically move the body. Even you call it as a mechanical work. You try to get the mechanical work to run, which is no matter state, but it's a bunch of energies on top of each other. Once you understand this, then heart of things, even absorption of the energy and fields, feeding yourself, all changes. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We've got a couple more hands up here. We have Marinez and Stefania.
Today's the day of women, is it?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Cash. Hello, Rick. Hello, all the team. Thank you very much for your relentless devotion, and I wish you all the best and all people who work in this way. I have, if you permit, two questions. First is the story of Popol Vuh in
What?
America. There is a nation, there is a legend about the Popol Vuh people, tribes in America, South America. And sometime in the history, they had a catastrophe. So they go under the earth through the ways under the earth. They come up to the hill, and then they were maybe praying. On the top of the hill, all of a sudden, they could not talk to each other. Even though they knew they are sisters and brothers, they couldn't talk to each other. How do you explain this?
I don't know. Legends can be anything the man makes it to be.
Okay,
I have no idea.
thank you very much. Second question is, you always say you should not kill, and we trying to learn it. And the how do we deal with women who do abortions without knowing that it's a child in early time before 2 months? How can they by their action of abortion towards the soul which they have medically exterminated? How could they do to
It comes by the position of responsibility and being able to carry. It comes with the capability of understanding I can bring to develop to full maturity without harming myself or the child. We see abortion nowadays as a tools of just pleasure, which goes to the next step. But in essence, the soul will live in a new dimension. But is not allowing it, is understanding the process, that what it means, which life will be in danger, the mother or the child. On the other hand, using the abortion for what you call it, birth control is not acceptable. But when it comes to a point when you see the mother, it'll be in danger if the cycle goes through, has to take priority the life of the mother. It's a mature soul. And that's we call it postnatal depressions. We see many mothers kill their children or themselves. And when you see that point, that's the time when you're in an accident, when the life of the child can endanger or the mother, then that's a different position. But abortion, the way man does as part of the pleasure, is not acceptable. It's a priority of soul, priority of life. And this is the only purpose, the only reason. We see many mothers. We just seen very recently when the mother calls that take the child, I'll throw her out of the window or I jump. Because we see this change in the structure of the status of mind or hormones create that condition. That's the only condition which you can. Nothing else. If it's a birth control, and then they have to sort that out between the souls.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've got Stefania next here. Would you like to go ahead?
Yes.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Cash. I got question from Giancarlo. He's an Italian seeker, and he raises his hands and he want to make a question. So I'm going to let him speak. 1 second. Giancarlo, ci sei? Sì, sì. Ok, allora aspetta un attimo così vediamo se ti sente. Ok, vai con la domanda.
In italiano?
Sì, falla prima in italiano. Tu sai parlare l'inglese?
No.
No, vale in italiano, però dammi spazio per tradurre, tipo fai una frase breve e poi traduco.
Ho sentito quella frase di Maria, col bambino, che Maria è l'anima che deve collegarsi dall'anima fisica per far nascere il bambino spirituale. Volevo sapere se questo simbolo
We lost the Italians.
No, still here.
Mi segui?
No, ti ho già perso. Fai piano, fai più, come si può dire, frasi brevi. E Daniela, puoi abbassare il volume, quello di Mr. Cash? Abbassa il volume, sennò mi viene l'eco.
Allora, ripeto.
Aspetta, fai abbassare, vai.
Cash ha detto che Maria era l'anima che cerca di far nascere l'anima fisica.
Ok, aspetta. Mr. Cash, he said that you said, this is what he understood, that the Virgin Mary is the soul who gives birth to the physical soul. This is what he understood. So tu stai dicendo che la Maria dà nascita all'anima fisica, tu hai capito, no?
No.
Nuova
anima, quella rinascita nuova di cui ha parlato.
That the Virgin Mary will give the birth to this new, sorry, I make a mistake, that the Virgin Mary give birth to this new soul, this new soul. Vai avanti.
Ti volevo chiedere se corrisponde all'antimateria in quel schema che ha fatto e all'anima cosmica come simbolo, capito?
He wants to know if he's referring to the drawing that you made of the antimatter with con l'antimateria e
all'anima vessal cosmica, anima cosmica, energia cosmica,
antimatter and the cosmic energy.
Perché ha parlato della grande madre.
Because you spoke about the bigger mom, the bigger mother. Can you hear me? Mr. Cash? Can you hear me? Rick, mi sentite?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Rick mi sente, però Mr. Cash non sta rispondendo. Allora,
maybe you want to try rephrasing the question.
Exactly.
So it's one question.
This is what I was thinking. Allora, Giancarlo, giusto per ripetere, no? Tu vuoi sapere se me lo ridici ancora che rifaccio la domanda fatta bene, scusami.
Forse io che mi sono spiegato male, però siccome lui ha parlato di Maria, simbolo dell'anima.
Ok, passo per passo.
Ora volevo sapere se è anche in corrispondenza la grande madre o l'antimateria.
Okay. He just saying that because he talked about the Virgin Mary as a symbol, he wanted to know if as a symbol has the antimatter, if it's a symbol referring to antimatter.
When it's a symbol, you can make it anything. This is the totality.
Ha detto che la totalità. Hai sentito cosa ha detto? Ha detto che. Ok.
Well, they say depends.
Mr. Cash, can you say it again?
I said depends on.
One second.
Can you hear me?
Say it again now. He will hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends. The whole understanding of virgin birth is not a physical condition, not the way the man thinks. It comes by the word of purity, means detached from, clear of everything.
1 second.
What you call a pure soul.
hai capito Giancarlo? Praticamente sta dicendo che sorry, Mr. Cash, could you repeat one more time? There
No.
was the ground noise and I couldn't grasp.
I said the virgin birth is not in a physical dimension as a man thinks. Virgin means purity, detached from everything. Being what we call a true, what we call condition that physicality doesn't come into it.
Ha detto che la Vergine Maria è proprio, come si può dire, quella forza dove tu ti devi staccare da tutto, è quel simbolo di
You got to go back to the history of virgin birth. Virgin birth doesn't come from Christ. Virgin birth comes from Mitra, born from the Virgin Mother. And that, how could they say Mitra is created from the soul of the Creator, from the dimension of the Creator? So they put virginity in it. And then when the Catholicism was made by the Romans, and the Christianity started, and they put the whole thing around it, they brought that virgin birth. How could they explain to man that you're not talking about Mary to be virgin, you're talking about the Son of Christ, the Son of God. You're talking about creation of the Creator. It's pure because it comes from the source. So is virgin. It's in a way untainted. And especially in Christianity, they have brought that and they made it to a woman, and then in that woman become the process of the birth, and then there was a woman who gave birth in there. Whatever, and the rest has to be built to bring that in to make it reality. Virgin birth is when the Creator created the soul of Mitra. We say now he took a rib of him. He took an strength which was the closest to him and allowed it to become separated, to become what we call Mitra. And that, to make it a stick, has been changed and turned to everything else, because Christianity of what you have as a virgin birth comes from Zoroaster, comes from birth of Mitra. And we don't have the physical dimension, the physicality or purity of Mitra being born from a virgin mother, which even in that mysticism could not be said that it's from the soul of the Creator, from the inner sanctum of the existence of the Creator. In the past, we have explained that even the Creator has a soul, let alone that this is why every creature has a soul. I made man in the image of myself. How can a man have a soul when the Creator doesn't have a soul? The center, the collection of the fields of it, the interaction of all the fields of the universe creates the dimension and strength of the soul of the Creator. So when you hear this rigma with virgin birth, go back. It's a Chinese whisper, but with its own twist. The Christianity has come from the Chinese whisper of the Mitra, added to the virginity and the rest of it. Because it suited the Romans and it suited the Christians. Half of them were Zoroastrians or Mitraism, and half of them were Christians. But those who had more power, because they were seat of the power, they could kill, they put their part as a Mitra into their writing. He is not questioning the physical virginity of Mary. It's questioning the reality of the facts of what we call Chinese whisper, which is if we make it this way, then we give it the mysticism. Even in the background of the work of Mitra and in Mitraism, no one has ever explained that virgin birth comes from the purity of the soul of the Creator. Virgin in the essence of pure, not a physical, no interaction. Because the soul of the Creator works with the soul of nature, not with the dimension of physicality of the nature. So then you have to answer how all this has been written, and we have come, they made us to believe in certain ways and do us to it. Any other question? If as knowledge seekers, you could understand what I have given you as a gift from Creator in this machine in front of you on the screen, you would have all give your life up. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. There's a couple of questions in the YouTube. One from Paulo. Paulo asks, it is wonderful to know how all things are created in the essence of the Creator. However, before materialization, there is the design of form and function. Where in space is the design center?
We don't design, we accept what manifests out of the interaction. Sorry, the only thing is God forgot to open the design center in the process of his creation. When we have address, we'll send it to you.
So, could you say that maybe in a different way? Where, I mean, it's an interesting question. Where does it come from?
Nothing.
Where did, for example, where did this design that we're looking, this beautiful, when was it first conceived? And did it or did it appear from, as you say, the interaction of the forces at that time?
This design of this unit goes back over 40, 50 years ago. The design of this unit, if you look at it, is the in 1970s, mid-70s, where the MRI came out. We saw partial interaction, but then you had the X-rays and gamma rays. The condition and the way this system was designed is accumulation of years of work. And there was no system to build this. There was not enough knowledge to build such a thing. It doesn't matter what we built. System with the interaction in this way was not available till a few years ago when we started seeing it in China coming up in different, applications in health and the banking and all sorts. And this allowed this version to come out. The future version of this system will be very, very amazing. We already know how it's going to shape, and that will bring a new dimension with the capability to carry hundreds, millions of people. This is a taste. We had two choices. Bring the knowledge to common man that everybody can have it and then build on it, or build such a huge things that we get entangled for years with the governments. The best escape route for all humanity to have was this shape. Manageable, positionable, and everything else. And this system can take you into the depth of the universe and come back. If you know how to use the system, you can cross universes. It's not the physical feature of it. It's the fields which we have created within this structure to bring the balance. If you look at it, you look at the body, we look at the fields, how these fields will create a balanced position that you have a new position. We have deliberately suppressed the fields to maintain a flat position. We have deliberately positioned reactors to create the curvature. We use the curvature to put it in, but once the system becomes what we call in a flight mode, this physicality is irrelevant. It's not the physicality which transports you, it's the fields which keep the shape because of their positioning. It's very much like life of the man. We create a physical man and then we give it the fields of the soul. We've done the same thing. We created a body which is always stays the same. You always have a Chinese man wherever you go, and then we change the soul to get different Chinese man. We can create very much at the moment. If you look, you sit on a platform like this. In the future, we change the platform like this. What this means is that we can expand the base. Again, we use that expansion with the units. When we tested these units, fields, we didn't have the physicality of the sphere. We put the reactors in the lab on the floor in different positions. We created the fields. We didn't, if we would have strengthened our fields, we would have never needed the physicality. We can change the position as long as we keep the balance of the fields in the dimension of the what we call application. I'm trying to clean up. There's nothing in the background. We can change the shape of this space to this, increase the numbers. But then we have to change the dimension, the strength of the reactors. If you look at this and turn it 90 degrees up, you have, as I said before, the vertical system. Here, the man is in the center. Here, the man is in the center. Any other question?
Okay, we have a hand up from